Queen's University, with an international reputation of academic excellence, has long been the school of choice for the best and brightest Canadian and international students. However, a decision made in 2008 by the Board of Trustees and the administration threatens to undo this reputation that Queen's has. Because of inadequate provincial funding and a global financial crisis, Queen's University's operating budget is set to see a 15% cut over the next 3 years. For some departments, such as linguistics and film, cuts of this magnitude could mean that without alternative funding, their departments could cease to exist. After speaking with several students, it is apparent that few people know what the budget cuts are and what the implications will be for their programs. QTV has conducted an investigative report to bring you a special episode on what the budget cuts are, how they will affect your program, and what is and is not being done to preserve the quality of education at Queen's. Find out coming up next. Welcome back to Queen's TV. We've been talking to several officials within and outside of the administration to find out what the budget cut is and what it will mean for the students at Queen's. Do you know why we are experiencing these cuts?
In the simplest sense, costs are exceeding our revenues. So in late spring, the university did an analysis of projected revenues and costs over the next 2 to 3 years. And that was where the figure came from. Once you add up all our revenues, add up all our costs, we're short several $1 million.
First of all, I don't think anybody decided to slash departmental budgets. I think what we have to do is to find a way to take 15% out of the budget over 3 years, and that's going to be tough.
This is not a new situation, but over the past several years, what has generally happened is at the end of the year, the government has allocated essentially money that's been left over from their budget. So although we come to the crisis point a number of times, that excess money has brought us back into parallel again.
There may not be any of that year-end money available because maybe our revenues this past year haven't been at the levels that we'd been expecting. We'll have to wait and see to see exactly what's left over in the kitty, as it were, on March the 31st to see if there's any money to give out to the institutions in year-end money.
The total percentage that we'll have to cut in arts and science is 20% of our budget of about 80 million. The 15% is a cut that the principal has asked all units to take over the next 3 years. In addition to that, we have something called the Progress Through the Ranks tax, which amounts to 1.25% of our salary mass. So that's about 1% of our total budget. So that's another 3% over 3 years. In addition, we have used money that's already committed to salaries, for example, for certain appointments over the next 2 or 3 years in order to meet urgent costs this year. So we have to make that up again, and that's an additional 2% of our budget. So 15% plus 3% plus 2% gives us 20%.
How will these budget cuts affect the education of the students?
I think we're trying to minimize the impact as much as we can, but there's no question that we're going to have to make some pretty hard choices.
That's going to have quite a significant effect on the academic programs that we can offer. It's going to have an effect on the administrative support that we can give to those programs.
It may mean a smaller or a limited range of courses than people are used to. It could mean larger class sizes.
For some faculties, it's going to be having to offer less courses or really cut back on new programs that they're wanting to move forward with. It's going to be a big problem for a lot of engineering programs as well as some smaller departments like fine arts or the film department. It's really going to affect everyone and really force everyone to sort of tighten their belts, and it's just being made worse by the fact that we're now moving into a recession.
I think it's inevitable that one effect is that at least some classes sizes are going to increase. There are going to be fewer classes offered, we're looking particularly at smaller classes to see if we can limit the number of those. And at the moment we're also looking at course combinations and programs that have relatively few students enrolled in them. And so we're looking at those to target areas where we can save the most costs with having the least effect on the student body.
I'm hoping in the long term it means that we might change the way in which we deliver some of our instruction that is more consistent with students coming to school in 2009.